Hello, everyone. So I am Shannon Giscombe, and I'm a grad student in the Department of Agricultural Economics at Mississippi State University. And I will be doing a video walking you guys through how to create a survey to help collect data for farmers market using Google Forms, as well as how to distribute and assess the data that we collect afterwards. Something really important is that this option is free, providing that individuals do have a Gmail account, um, which is also free to access. So first, we are just going to open up a new tab in Google Chrome. In the right corner, we can hit the candy box icon. That's this right here. It'll show us a drop down of a list of different Google apps that we could access. We are searching for Google Forms right here. Okay, so this takes us to the Google Forms homepage where we will create our survey. Another option is to, when you open a new tab, you go to forms.google.com, and that should also take you to your homepage. So either one works. It is whichever you are more comfortable with. Since we are creating our own, we won't be needing to use any of the templates that Google provides. So we hit the start from new, creating a blank form right here. And the first thing we will do is add an appropriate title to our survey that we're going to do. So how about for this one, we use Farmers Market Customer Survey. And second, we will add a description to our survey. That way respondents have an idea of exactly what they are being surveyed for. So how about recent visit survey to determine customer satisfaction? Is usually the first thing that respondents notice when they open a survey. So that's something that we always want to keep in mind. Now we can get down to where we create the questions for the survey. Something to keep in mind is that we want our questions to be necessary, concise, and straightforward. So nothing that will potentially deter respondents. So an appropriate question for a survey like this would be to ask how satisfied a customer was with their purchase. So we click this box right here. Here Google gives us a recommended response type. In this case, it's a linear scale. So if I wanted to use this linear scale, it would be from 1 to 10, 1 being not satisfied and 10 being satisfied. So what this would look like is if we go ahead and add a new question, it should show us what our scale would look like. So this is our response type if we use a linear scale, but there are other options as far as response type goes. So if I didn't want a linear scale, I could always change it. So multiple choice, for example. Our options could be very satisfied, and then we could have satisfied. Enter usually gives us a new response, neither satisfied or dissatisfied, and the other option could be dissatisfied. Depending on the question that you asked, there are multiple different response options that you can choose from. We just went through looking at a linear scale as well as using multiple choice. If the responses that you have are many, so for example, if someone is choosing a month out of the year, then they could use a drop-down option so they don't have all the list so the survey doesn't look long, or they could do a file upload. You could have where they put in a short answer where respondents type what their response is, so that would be like an open-ended question, and you have the option of multiple choice grids. So those are just different options that you can have. Usually when you're done and you hit this plus button, you could get a new question. In this case, we already have the option here to type a new question. Doing the survey, we want to make sure we're collecting all the necessary information. So one way we can do that is to make a question required for the respondents to answer before they're able to submit the survey. While you can make all questions required, a rule of thumb is to just ensure that the required questions are questions that we absolutely want the answers to, and questions that could potentially apply to all survey respondents. So for example, a good question for a survey like this would be, did you make a purchase at the farmer's market? Chances are they're doing the survey because they visited a farmer's market. So again, based on the question that we asked, Google made some suggestions. So I'll do add yes, and here automatically the options are there. So yes, no, maybe. If you want it to be something else or a different choice, you could always change that. So we're gonna make this a required question to say whether or not they shop at the farmer's market, so that way we can know who made a purchase and who didn't. This tab right here, all we're going to do is just put this on. So when it's on, it's purple or whatever theme color you have. And that way the question is required, so individuals have to answer this question before they submit. Each required question should have an asterisk beside it. That way, even if you missed turning on the required button, when you scroll through your survey afterwards to see, just to double check everything, you could tell what's required and what isn't. For this survey, we're kind of just typing the questions as we go along. But the order in which we type the questions in doesn't have to be the order in which we distribute the survey. So when you get done, when you're reviewing, something that you could do is just click on the questions and you could move them around, just drag, drop them. I'm going to put this question first just so it would flow. Did you make a purchase? Followed by how satisfied you were with your purchase if you made the purchase. And then, how likely you are to recommend. So these are questions that we could always include in our surveys. So now that we have a survey, we want to distribute the survey so we could get responses and see what our farmers market customers are thinking. So here, if we hit this send button right here, it gives us a bunch of different options in which we could share it. So here, this tab is the email option, so you could send it out to a list of individuals who you maybe have that you want to take the survey. You could send out a link. This link can be sent out also probably via email, or you could copy and paste the link and share it on your social medias, from phone to phone, via text messaging or otherwise. So however you were able to distribute the link, that'll be how you want to do it. And this is an embedded HTML. So what you do is you could also copy and paste this on, again, your websites or wherever. And here you have the option of just sharing it straight to your Facebook or your Twitter. So whatever you have that's associated with your current Google account. In our case, we don't need to do this right now, so. Another option is to create a QR code so customers can access the survey totally optional. However, how you do that is when you go here and you hit send, you get a link. I'll shorten the URL and you copy this. So we're going to open a new tab, and in that new tab we are going to go to QR code generator. So qrcodegenerator.com, and we are going to paste the link that we just copied. And what that does is it generates a QR code here for us, which we can download as an image. We could share it again using Twitter, Facebook, as a PDF, as a picture. We could email it, we could send it via text messaging, or we could simply download it and add it to our different business cards, or if we have a poster by our farm booth, we could print this on it. So how the QR code works is someone scans the QR code with their phone camera and it gives them a link to the survey. So you have the different options you could play around with. So here this tells people, hey, scan me, different ways to go about it. So once they scan it, they have access to the survey that we just created. And this should download a photo for us. So if I go to my photos, I should see a recently downloaded image of the QR code. And once you scan that, it should come up, like if you pause your screen right now and scan this, you should see the survey that we just created. So next we want to talk about how we're going to analyze the data that we get from these survey responses. So if you hit the response tab here, we just created this, so we don't have responses, so I'll go to an older survey. Okay, so on the response tab, it should show you like a overall summary of all your responses. So you see what percentage of your respondents were satisfied or dissatisfied given this question and given the way that our response option was set up. This was a multiple choice. This question was a linear scale from 1 to 10, and you should also see the different responses. 4 respondents, which is 17% of our 23, would rate it 9 as to how likely they are to recommend the market to a friend or colleague. In case you want to get out of Google and Google Forms and go to like your Google Documents, you could always copy the chart and paste it somewhere else, or you could export this into a Google spreadsheet. So now I'm going to walk us through the option of creating a contact list from our survey respondents. If we had collected their emails, which there is one form where I had collected some emails. So in this one, I collected emails. What you can do is you could go to this kebab icon right here in your responses and go to download responses as a CSV. I will put this here, just a new folder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my home page and go to Google Contacts. Once I am in Google Contacts, I will import the file, Farmers Market Survey CSV, and I will import that. Okay, so here it gave me a list of all the emails from my respondents on the date that I collected it. So you can go ahead and rename this to something more appropriate, and I'll save this. Should in any case I want to send out a email to all the respondents, whether it's promotional or otherwise, all I have to do is select, I go to select all, and this creates a list. for my email, and I'll go to send email. In this new tab, I'll generate the email. So the subject is farmers market promotion. And I'll go ahead and I'll, generate the email, whatever it is I'm promoting, whether it's, 50% off, use the code, whatever it is, and I'll send that out to the general list of my survey respondents. And pretty much that's how you can use this Google Forms to collect data, generate a QR code. You first create the forms, then you distribute them, and then you analyze your data, or you use the emails to create a contact list. And that's pretty much it.